War often forces ordinary people to use extraordinary creativity. During the Second World War, soldiers and resistance fighters weren't always equipped with the best weapons or endless supplies. Many times, survival depended on pure ingenuity, turning everyday objects into tools of defense and destruction. These weren't random acts of desperation. They were practical, field-tested solutions that gave men and women a fighting chance when the odds were stacked against them. Today, we'll explore 9 of the most unusual weapon hacks that emerged from trenches, forests, and occupied cities. Some revealed the darker side of human necessity, but I'll show how innovation thrives when survival is the only goal. One of the simplest yet most devastating improvised weapons was the Molotov cocktail. A glass bottle filled with gasoline or kerosene, sometimes thickened with oil, became a powerful anti-tank and anti-personnel weapon. Resistance fighters across Europe and Soviet soldiers on the Eastern Front used it to deadly effect. A rag stuffed into the neck served as a fuse. Once lit and thrown, the bottles shattered, spreading fire across vehicles and troops alike. It required no special training, just resourcefulness, and proved that even common fuel could become a weapon of war. Helmets, too, were far more than head protection. On the battlefield, soldiers used them as shields, containers, even weapons. Filled with sand or rocks, a helmet could become a brutal blunt force tool in close combat. Others used them as decoys, placing helmets on sticks to draw sniper fire, or as noise traps, filled with stones that rattled if an intruder crept through camp at night. Adaptability was the real weapon here. Even a piece of standard gear could be reimagined for survival. The entrenching tool, that humble folding shovel, became one of the deadliest close combat weapons of the war. Sharpened edges turned it into an axe. The flat blade could crush skulls or break bones. German and Soviet soldiers trained specifically in shovel combat, mastering techniques for striking and parrying. It was a reminder that in war, a tool meant for digging trenches could also save your life in a fight. Electronics, too, found new purpose. Radios, batteries, and wiring became components for makeshift explosives. Resistance fighters stripped household devices for copper wire and circuits, creating crude detonators capable of triggering charges from a distance. What began as improvisation laid the groundwork for decades of guerrilla tactics. Proof that a little electrical knowledge can turn ordinary parts into powerful tools. In moments of desperation, soldiers even returned to ancient technology. The sling, a simple sock filled with stones or metal scraps, could become a silent, brutal weapon. At close range, it could break bones, knock out sentries, or serve as a distraction. It was crude, yes, but effective, and it showed that sometimes the oldest methods are still the most reliable. In occupied Europe, bicycle parts became an unlikely source of weaponry. Chains were fashioned into whips. Sharpened spokes were turned into stabbing tools or triggers for traps. Twisted metal caltrips, made from bike frames, punctured tires, and slowed enemy convoys. These weren't weapons of destruction. They were weapons of disruption. Every scrap of metal became a way to delay, to confuse, to survive. When grenades ran short, soldiers improvised. Empty ration tins, nails, and bits of explosive were transformed into homemade fragmentation bombs. Crude and dangerous, even to their makers, these devices still gave fighters a fighting chance. Guerrilla groups in Asia used similar tactics, building their own weapons from whatever they could scavenge. It was desperation turned into determination, a reminder that innovation can emerge from scarcity. Weapons also hid in plain sight. Resistance fighters disguised knives and blades inside ordinary household items, razors and combs. Knives and walking sticks, sharpened spoons, and kitchen tools reworked into deadly spikes. Behind enemy lines, concealment often meant survival. These hidden tools were not for intimidation, but for insurance. A secret edge if captured or cornered. The lesson endures. Subtlety can be as powerful as strength. Even clothing became a last resort. Heavy boots fitted with hobnails could be used to stomp with lethal force. Belts with metal buckles became flails. Straps and cords served as garrotes during escapes or ambushes. What seemed like simple apparel doubled as defense, a reminder that anything, in the right hands, can become a tool for survival. These 9 battlefield improvisations reveal a deeper truth. In times of crisis, resourcefulness becomes the ultimate weapon. Soldiers and civilians alike understood that survival wasn't just about firepower, it was about creativity, adaptability, and will. While we live far from the desperation of wartime Europe or Asia, the lessons remain the same. In any age, resilience is built not from abundance, but from imagination. If you found this deep dive into wartime ingenuity valuable, subscribe to In the Beginning for more forgotten stories and survival wisdom from history. Share this with others who appreciate how the past still teaches us to adapt, endure, and overcome no matter the odds.